Before we go over the C80 build, I want you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This many of you are actually not subscribed and are watching the videos, so please subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. This rig was built for real-world production, anywhere from studio shoots to music videos and running guns. The main thing that I wanted to focus on while I was building this was balance, speed, and reliability. I wanted to make sure that it was a cinema beast. So the main piece of this whole build, what's gonna hold everything together, is gonna be the Tilta rig. We went with Tilta just because I kind of use it on some of my other cameras and I really like the way that they build their products. So we used Tilta for the actual cage, but they also had a bunch of accessories that I wanted to add on. First being the handles. I have the top handle and the side handle. You don't realize how much they come in handy for stability and just being able to move the camera around until you start using them. They are 1/4 and one's actually a NATO rail. So these are very quick to be able to mount and take off the rig. This one is very mandatory when you're building a rig. This is the articulating piece for the monitor. So I would always recommend kind of paying for a good one. I wanted to keep everything uniform when it came to the majority of the parts that I put onto the camera, so we try to stick with Tilta as much as possible, even though they don't make everything. Next here we have a cable clamp. The cable clamp I like to use for organization, just making sure all the cables are hugged to the camera, so when you're walking with it or moving through a crowd or whatever scenario that you're in, you don't have to worry about cables being pulled at all. So the last Tilta piece that we're actually putting onto the camera is this basically phone mount. It's a magnetic articulating mount kit. Basically it's a MagSafe piece, and what we're going to use it for is just keeping the phone connected to the camera, so we kind of have everything in one. Specifically when we're doing like recaps for events and stuff like that, there's certain text messages or certain times that you have to keep up with, and it just makes it a lot easier being that everything's connected. One of the main things that we put on right away, right when we get a camera, are screen protectors. I put screen protectors on everything. These are your workhorses, no doubt. They're meant to get beat up, but you can protect them, you can keep them clean and still keep them looking good. Batteries is another main part. I have the actual batteries right here that we're using for the whole rig. The C80 comes with one battery, but when I started using it, I realized how one battery was definitely not gonna be enough for a shoot. What I did was I started doing homework, and the main battery used is the A30, basically. And they're strong, but again, you might be able to get like an hour and a half on a shoot with this, with turning the camera on and off and all of that. So we have two of those. I wanted to get another small one just to have, because also too, the bigger the batteries are, the more they weigh. And I didn't want to also have the rig completely weighed down if I didn't need to. But for certain shoots where weight isn't a problem, I also got this one, which is a BP A60, which is basically two of these combined into one in all reality. Now, for the monitor, which we haven't spoken about the monitor yet, but these are the batteries for the monitors. It's a Sony NPF battery. This is an F550. I got them smaller because, like I said, batteries weigh, and I wanted to keep that monitor as lightweight as possible. And with the monitor we got one of the most lightweight monitors on the market. And what's cool is not only can you charge it with a regular Sony NPF batteries, but they have a USB-C attachment. They have a USB-C port that you can actually use for it as well to charge. Plus the batteries for the beast. So the next piece that I wanted to go over is the small rig piece. I had to switch over to small rig because Tilta actually doesn't make this, and small rig comes in clutch with all the little accessories. This is like little legs for the camera. These cameras are expensive, and water is something that's always around everywhere, not just water, just liquid. And being able to put your camera on the ground and not have to worry about that is just the peace of mind that I've learned that I appreciate the most. It also acts as an Arca type mount for a lot of tripods, so you don't have to worry about taking it on and off when you rig it onto the camera. And the last box we're gonna go over is the monitor. So we use the Shinobi 2 monitor from Atmos. So far, this monitor is amazing. I did have to send the first one back. This is the second one. Well, for some reason, when I shook it a little bit, it kind of sounded like there was a loose screw. And it was the only thing that bothered me, and I didn't want it to mess up in the future. So I swapped them out, but I couldn't return it. I truly fell in love with it, with how lightweight it is, and also how sharp and bright the monitor is. That's one of the main things, especially when you're shooting in complete daylight. I've already done a couple shoots where I'm in direct sunlight, and I never really had to worry about if I'm seeing my image. So now I kind of want to show you guys the actual rig itself, the way we have it rigged out. and we can go over a lot of the pieces that we just talked about. Actually, real quick, one of the main things that I actually didn't go over, because I don't have the box here, I don't know what I did with it, but I put a skin on a lot of my cameras. Almost every camera that I have has a skin on it. The only one that doesn't have it is the R6 Mark III that we just purchased, basically because the camera is so new, they haven't came out with them yet. But the second they do, I buy them. It keeps the camera feeling brand new and it looks brand new. And if I ever wanted to maybe trade up or get rid of the camera, as long as I peel this off, it almost basically feels like a brand new camera. Let's jump straight into the rig. We'll start from the top to the bottom. The Atmos monitor with some nice coiled cables that I wanted to keep actually matching to the whole Canon setup. Everything with a Canon cinema line is gonna have like red lines or some red buttons like up here. And I wanted to just keep that theme to it. And that's why we also went with these batteries as well in red. They were a little bit more difficult to find in red, but again, I kind of wanted to keep like a theme kicking to the camera. Something that's not necessary at all. It's just my preference and what I like to do. These are like my little cars that I can build out, and I love it. Just so you can see what it looks like mounted, we have this small battery that clips in it right there. Like I said with the monitor, the Atmos Shinobi 2 monitor, nice and slim, really lightweight, connected now to the Tilta articulating arm that we went over, connected to the Tilta handle that we went over, and just the way everything feels in your hand is great. Now, the reason I added this side handle over here, with the side handle, we actually mounted the articulating MagSafe piece for the phone onto that side handle. It's nice and tough so the phone doesn't move around, and nice and easy, the phone just mounts on there. So now while I'm shooting and I'm looking at the monitor or looking down here to adjust a couple of things, I can still go over a script, I can go over a shot list, I can go over a text message from any one of my clients. Now jumping over to the next piece, which is this little clamp that's gonna keep my cables organized, and I love it. If you take a look right here, basically it pops right open and you can just tuck cables in it. The way I was able to run the cables, it stays hugged to the camera the whole time, so I don't have to worry about if I'm walking through a crowd, anything gets yanked or anything like that. And with it being tucked against the camera, it also again gives me peace of mind knowing that I'm not gonna mess up any of the ports on my cameras like that. One thing, jumping back to the side handle, I completely forgot to mention it, but the side handle is another sense of protection as well for the cables, and this is the most sensitive part. I already had a R5C that had some issues with some ports. They're so flimsy because again, you're just pushing a cable into it, and if a cable happens to get ripped out, it's just a nightmare waiting to happen. And the next piece we're gonna go over are the legs. So here's how it's mounted. It's just these two pieces right here. It actually even has a cool place to hold a Allen key, and it folds up like this, nice and clean, so everything can stay tucked away with the legs if you're not using them, and if you're gonna mount it onto the tripod. And if you wanted it to, the legs pop out real quick. And it keeps everything nice and steady. You don't have to worry about your camera tipping over. You don't have to worry about if there's any liquids on the floor and things like that. I guess the last thing that we would kind of go over, I have it in the camera already, but it's memory cards. These are the type of memory cards it uses. It's just a SD card. Well, it's not just an SD card. It's the V92 memory cards. It does need a bit more power and speed. Not sure why they didn't go with CFast. I have to do a little bit more homework. I would have recommended CFast because just the speeds. Sometimes the file sizes on this are really large, and this not being as fast as it could be just takes a little bit of time for everything to transfer. But this is how I basically built my Canon C80. Again, this is for what I use it for. This is meant for comfort, reliability, speed, balance, all for what I use it for. Go ahead and use any of this information you would want in order to build your own rig. I'll put a list of the parts at the bottom in the captions. And thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to comment below. Let me know what you're interested in seeing. I'm still trying to set up my YouTube, so it's a community-based effort. Obviously, I'm going to show a lot of the stuff that I like doing, show a lot of the stuff that I end up creating with my teams and the company and some of these amazing artists and clients that I have. But I also want to help you guys. So you got to let me know what you would need help with. Comment below what type of videos you want to see. This is basically going over how I rigged my C80, but we can also do some tutorials and other things like that. But I just need to talk to you guys. We need to speak. But I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.